Hey, what's happening, people? If you are shooting portraits in the harsh mid-afternoon sun and you want to use strobe, you have two options. You gotta use high-speed sync or ND filters on your lens. They might look like it gives you the same results, but you have to use them in two different scenarios. They are not the same, and I will explain you how I use each method and depending on the situation I'm encounter. First, let's start with high-speed sync. We have Olivia. She's backlit, no light on her face. I'm trying to bounce some light back on her. And for this shoot, I'm using the Canon R5 with a 70-200 mm lens. And I'm going with the Godox AD200 strobe because it's the strobe most of the people are using it right now. And I'm using a 44-inch softbox. This is the key because I can use the AD200 with a small reflector, the metallic reflector, which increases the power of the flash, and I can blast with no problem. I can darken the sky with no problem. But as soon as I want to soften the light a little bit to make it more pleasant in the face of my subject, then when everything goes sideways, because side lights, especially the big soft lights, eat a lot of light. During the high-speed sync exposure, the flash emits a lot of impulses of light to get you the right exposure. That is very hard on a battery and it's very hard on the flash. You're gonna get hot right away. Also, you are losing a stop and a half to 2 stops of power. With a small flash like this, it works good. The high-speed sync works good, especially with the big modifiers. If the flash is very close to your subject, I'm talking about like 2 feet, 3 feet from, for a tight portrait. That will work fine. You're going to have a nice exposure and all going to look really good on your subject. So high-speed sync works good when you have your light in close proximity with your subject. It's very easy to set it up because you don't need nothing. You know, you have your remote on your camera. You just crank it up. You set it on high sync mode, and you just start shooting. The limitation starts when you have to use light modifier, a big light modifier like this, with a small flash. 200 watts is a relatively small flash, and it cuts the power right away. The high-speed sync itself cuts the power of the flash anywhere from a stop and a half to 2 stops, and the softbox are going to eat a lot of that output too. So you end up with a very small light output for a flash like this. In order to have a nice, soft, even light, you have to bring the light very close to your subject, within like 2-3 feet from the face of your subject, and that might work good for a tight portrait or something like that. On the second, you try to underexpose the background a little bit, you lose power. That is where the NDs kick in, because what you cannot do with the high-speed sync on your camera, you can do with the NDs on your lens. I'm using one of these variable ND filters from Freewheel. It's variable, so we can adjust it. And what the filter does, it cuts the ambient. I can adjust the ambient exposure just rotating the filter. When I see how much I want to darken the background, I stop. That keeps my flash in the camera sync at 250, and I can shoot at 2.8. The flash works on full power. Is very easy on the flash, easy to recycle. I can move it back because right now the flash is just one blast. I can move it back from my subject. I can do full length, and I have no problem with that. Of course, the drawback is I have to spend money on the ND filters. You have to fuss with it. You have to adjust it. But after that, it just works flawlessly because in some situation you want to move the light back from your subject, and with a small flash like the AD200, there's no way you can do this with a high-speed sync. So using the ND filter saves the situation. The results might be the same, but they are for two different setups, for two different situations. So look at high-speed sync and ND filters like high-speed sync. It's style and speed, and ND filters are power and punch. If you want to punch more light into the scene, use ND filter. If you want to move fast, have a nice style, blur the background while you are shooting at a wide open aperture, use the high-speed sync. Of course, if you don't use modifiers, that changes a little bit the situation, but the strain on your flash is the same with high-speed sync. You're gonna suck the power of your flash pretty fast because of the pulses of light it emits, and with the anti-filter, you just conserve the power of your flash, and you can shoot for longer time. So with the ND filter, if I want to feather the light, that will work because the flash is punching at full power and I can feather the light on my subject. With the high-speed sync, you kind of like have to let it go straight to your subject to increase the output of your flash, to help the output of your flash all the time. And that is when your creativity kind of like gets constrained because you have to think of the power of your flash instead of feathering the light and making the portrait more pleasant. When you're shooting at high noon with the sun blazing hot and super bright like now, turn your subject with the back towards the sun just to have a nice rim around the body. Find something in the background, like right now I have these trees behind, which are already in shade because the sun is behind them, so it's darker. That will help getting the separation from Olivia because she has this rim light from the sun. I'm going to illuminate her face with the softbox, and we're going to have this a nice separation from dark to highlights in the pictures, which will create some interest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please check out my channel for more lighting tutorials and gear reviews. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.